Is Eve, baby.
All right, welcome everyone to Thrive Tribe & Co. Carers Week, our first event. So we've invited everyone to our Wellness Wednesday, and we're going to cover a really awesome topic today around why carers, and you in particular, are so valuable to the world. So we're going to do a little presentation, and then we're going to stop the recording and just have a chin wag, which is what we usually do on a Wednesday, and just check in and make sure everyone's doing well, and talk about whatever comes up. But we thought we'd do something a little bit special this week and do a special edition for Carers Week. So I'm just going to share one of the windows, because you don't want to see my desktop because there's 1,000 windows open. So as I said, welcome to our Wellness Wednesday special edition. We're super excited that you guys could join us today. I know there's lots going on. There's kids at home. There's, lots of things you could be doing, but I really appreciate that you've spent or you've invested this time in yourself today, and it's lovely to see you. All right, so let's get into the context. I really wanted to talk about this first, just to make sure that people understood why we were talking about this topic, because there's so many statistics we could talk about today. This one really, I think we really need to feel into. So I Googled this today because I knew it would be out there, but I didn't actually know what the resources would say. So according to the Medical Journal of Australia, compared to the general population, carers are at a significantly greater risk of having mental health problems and lower levels of vitality. Now, if you're familiar with anything we've done at Thrive Tribe & Co before, you will have seen the video that I recorded years ago, which actually talked about the fatality statistics, which is a lot around physical health. But here we're seeing that it's also it can affect mental health as well. So this week is so important to recognize you and to really appreciate your worth and your value to the world. Because if we can help you to see that, it's going to lead to you having better self-esteem, which will mean that you will invest in yourself, in self-care. And I don't want that to be like a woo-woo self-care. Like sometimes self-care isn't pretty. Sometimes self-care is, eating the thing because you know it's good for you, or getting up early to go exercise or move your body or do yoga or stretch or whatever it is, or taking 10 minutes out to sit and breathe or meditate or whatever it is you do to de-stress. So our goal here is to affect these statistics. We really want you to see the value in yourself, and then want to invest in you in terms of your time and how you look after yourself. Here we go. So our focus, as I said today, is appreciating your value in the world. This is one of the pictures from our last retreat, and I just love this so much. And this was a really challenging day for a lot of the ladies, but why I love this here is because they did so much more than what they thought they were capable of. And I'm sure that every day you do things and you don't realize how much you're actually doing. In our coaching group this week, we're actually asking everybody to write down all the things that they do each week, and the skills that go along with that, because I think that's super important, and we're going to talk about that today. So I want you to think about your role as a carer a little bit different today. So the 3 topics we're going to focus on are your financial value, because I know sometimes think when we're talking about value that it's just like we're talking about heart stuff. You actually make a significant contribution to our economy. And, even though I know some people think because they don't have a paid job, they're not contributing, I'm going to show you how much you actually contribute to Australia's economy every single year. We're going to talk about the skills you have that are really unique and really productive as a carer. And we're going to talk about some attributes or characteristics that you get from this role that are really, really important for our community as well. Steph, did you want to add anything? I've sort of just taken over.
No. Keep going. Keep rolling on.
Awesome. So financial impact. Did you know that if the government was to pay carers an hourly rate based on all of the hours of caring that they do, so informal carers, if they were to pay that to a formal carer, in 2020, that bill would come to $77.9 billion in our economy. like billion, not million, billion. Like it's a huge amount of money. And particularly, so if you take aged care and just look at disability, it was 58.1 billion. So that is our contribution to the economy. We are saving our Australian economy that amount of money every year by doing our informal caring caring role, which is huge. It's a huge amount of money, right? So this report, which was commissioned by Carers Australia, estimated that the government would have to fork out almost $1.5 billion a week if the nation's informal carers received a wage, right? So it's like significant. And this is why Carers Australia like contracted this this report to be done, because we know of the impact that you guys make. The community, they say they understand the impact, but do they until they see it in a dollar value? So Liz Callaghan, who's the CEO of Carers Australia, really wanted to get this dollar value so she could explain the actual contribution in terms of finances that this contribution makes to our country, which I think is super cool. All right, so that
just before you move on, can I jump in?
Of course,
quickly?
please do.
I recently went to the Carers forum, which was last Thursday, and Liz was on it, and there was a real push on bringing this out to the community to show how much we are worth. When you look at what we do, the wage that we would make, they would be so lost, you know, and they are really pushing for the changes and for carers to be recognised. So I just wanted to jump in to say that, because they are really advocating for us.
Yeah. And I was actually, because I read this morning, I was just like, you know what, I really want some concrete statistics. And then I was in the shower washing my hair where I get all my ideas. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but that's like my quiet time where I get to think to myself. But I was actually thinking, like, this is how much money it would cost, but our country doesn't even have the manpower to facilitate paying those services anyway. So, you know, being able to recognize that, and I actually think the government recognizing that and investing more in us, in our well-being and our mental health and physical health is really important, which is, you know, we advocate a lot for that through our Tribe & Co, but, you know, on a higher level, like government services, I think it's really important to get these stats out there. So thank you, Jane, for contributing that. Okay, so skills. So I actually talk to a lot of mums, and often they think they don't have a skill set that would be productive or enable them to get a job or, you know, be able to contribute in that way. Do you know how valuable your skills are from being a carer or a parent? Through your experiences, you have so many skills, right? So think about everything that you do each day. Think about your time management and organisation skills. We have never seen anybody juggle the commitments like a special needs mama or dad or parent or carer. You know, like we have constantly got lots of balls in the air. I feel like it's like I'm trying to manage. I use this analogy a lot, but the plate spinning. So you get one plate spinning and then you got to get the next plate spinning, and you're constantly trying to keep the plates up, right? So it might be all the different therapies, liaising with school, you know, medical appointments, actually just making sure that they live and eat and, you know, are alive at the end of the day, right? So we're juggling all these things. So time management and organisation is a huge skill, and some people just don't have that. They have to learn it, or they pay lots of money to learn it at, you know, through a course. Advocacy. So every day we advocate for our kids, or even for ourselves. So that might be with services. So it might be with like allied health, it might be with the NDIS, it might be with a medical professional, but it can just be in our everyday lives as part of a community, like helping to get our kids the same access to shopping centres or experiences or any of those things. So education, and I wanted to include this photo down here. And this photo, Amanda actually sent us today, and I love it so much. So it was Ashton, her son, teaching his class about the zones of regulation. Now, Amanda has been fighting to get her school to actually recognise Ashton's difficulties and take these things into consideration. And they've actually now contracted someone to teach all the classes at school about this. So Amanda has educated the school about disability, and I'm like so proud of you. I get like cheery. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And we were saying before, like that was not an easy fight for her.
No.
The school were not accommodating at all. She had to really, really, really push for that to happen, you know? So yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So happy.
But we do that. Like we educate others. We educate like professionals about our children and about the needs of children with diverse needs or disabilities, right? So that is a really important role that we have and a skill set that we have. Being able to communicate in different ways. I didn't realize how valuable this was until I started teaching kids with diverse needs and different abilities. Like I now teach adults with like severe disabilities, and they don't speak. So, but they communicate a lot. And we have a very unique skill set in being able to recognize those non-verbal cues, the body language, the facial expressions, tone of voice, sometimes sign language, even different vocalizations and what they mean. So not everybody has that. Most people rely on verbal communication. So that's a really awesome skill set that we have. Now, I reckon they need to contract us as negotiators. Just saying. Like I negotiate most days, every day, all day, like on everything. It's always a negotiation. So those skills are like it is very valuable and it's very productive, particularly in a workplace, being able to negotiate with people. This one is actually really important too. And I think it's something that people don't realize is a skill, but many people can't do it. So this is the ability to take on feedback and readjust and reset. So how many times have you tried something with your young person or little one or older person and it doesn't work? And you're like, well, let's try something else, right? Then being able to take on that feedback, and it might be that you're seeing a therapist and they say, oh, using that word with them isn't actually like going to be a great tool. You could try doing this. Like we had to completely change the way we spoke with our daughter Imogen because she would react to the word no. So, finding new ways to do that. Now, I had therapists come out here and watch our interactions, and then they would critique, and then they'd go, oh, well, you could try this and you could try that. Our ability to take on board that feedback and not be like offended or put off by it is actually really awesome. So being solutions focused and action oriented, and I know like all the special needs mums I know are like, okay, let's get to therapy. What's the next strategy? How do we implement that? So it's not being stuck in the situation. It's like, okay, let's find a solution. Let's try and implement that. And then the last one I added was the ability to pivot and adjust quickly. So I know when I'm out and about, I'm trying to think, okay, so if we go here, then she's going to look at that, and then I'm going to have to make sure she doesn't run across that road, or then, try and steal that person's donut. Or so it's like forward planning, but then also being able to adjust when things come up that we're not ready for. These are very valuable skills that businesses highly value. So the next time you think that you're not employable, I want you to remember all these things. And this is just a list that Steph and I come up with in 5 minutes of brainstorming that then I filled out. Like I sort of puffed out a little bit. But imagine if we sat down for hours and thought about all the skills that you have every day because of the experiences that you have. Yes, Christy, you should be adding this to your resume. I will send you the presentation if you would like. All right, so attributes. So these we're looking at like characteristics, and this is a very short list of thousands of attributes that I believe people have when they're parents and carers. So open-minded. In today's world especially, I just feel like being able to think outside the box and understand people being different, and it's not a bad thing, is such a valuable commodity. It's a valuable characteristic. There's so much judgment and assumptions in the world today. So us being open-minded because of our experiences is just, it's invaluable, really. Patience. Do not know of groups that is more patient, really. Even though sometimes we don't feel like it, we are actually very, very patient people. Compassionate, empathetic, being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Resilience, like your ability to bounce back after challenge, to get up every day, after, you know, thinking, going to bed the night before thinking, I can't do this again tomorrow, but you get up the next day and you do it anyway because you're awesome, right? And you're resilient. And that is a fantastic characteristic to have. And persistence, like you just keep going until, yeah. So we've covered, I want this to be short so you guys can chat and connect. So we've covered your financial value to the world, right? Your skills that you contribute to the world and your characteristics and attributes. These are only 3 things, but we are so, so grateful for everything that you do every single day for your family, but for our community and for the world. You make a significant impact on this planet. And that's why Carers Work is so important.
Totally.
So we want to thank you for all you are and everything that you do. I wish I could give you roses. Send them all out to you.
Some virtual roses instead.
Don't have that capacity, but here, take my virtual rose and our appreciation for everything that you do.
Maybe next year, Sandy.
Yeah.
You can combine forces and get the roses sent to everyone.
All right, I'm going to pause the recording there so we can chat. But if you're watching the recording, thanks for tuning in. We hope you got a bit of inspiration and some self-love out of that because we appreciate everything that you do. All right.